Hello, this is Soraya Ottana. I am a life designer, mindset, and relationship coach, and I am so happy to be here with you because I want to talk to you about the 3 things to do when you encounter guilt. And I want to tell you a story because if you knew me, you know that my house was a permanent, perpetual, emotional and spiritual hospital. My mom, which is an amazing soul. Everybody loves my mom. She's an amazing lady. She's an amazing woman. And the fact of this is that my mom, when I was growing up and I was about 12, 13 years old, I would come home from school and I would find people sitting in my living room that I didn't know if they were going to stay there for an hour or a day, a week, a month, or a year. So that's how we rolled it. And that's what we did. And my mom would be so open to have people and help them and pray for them and tailor to their needs and loving them and take care of them. So that's what I had as an example when I was growing up. And I remember one time when I asked my mom about this one dress. If you knew more about me, which is my other side of the story, and probably you know it, probably you don't, but I was very tomboyish. I wanted to be a boy, but that's a different story. And I hardly ever wore dresses, but one dress that I had that I totally loved, and it was like purpley, and it had little white flowers, and it had like a ribbon on the edge. And I was so happy with my very old dress, but it was my one dress. And I came home and I asked my mom, and I said, "Mom, have you seen my purple dress?" Because I could not find my dress anywhere. And what she told me was, well, sweetie, guess what? That there was this little girl that came and she needed it more than you did. So I gave it to her. And I could not believe that. But being the mom that I have, having the mom that I had, of course I understood that life was about giving. So it was like, you give it, right? And then it was the next thing and the next thing. And one time I came home and I wanted to get my doll, my one doll that, mind you, it was the only doll that my grandmother had ever given me. I asked my mom and I said, "Mom, have you seen my doll?" And she said, "Oh, guess what, sweetie? There was this other girl that came and she needed it more than you do. And I gave it to her." So that's how my life went. That's what I learned. And where I'm going with this is I learned that I couldn't really have things for myself. That's not what she taught me. But you know what? Deep in our minds, that's what we pick up on. Our subconscious mind picks on things that you can hardly put a finger on. Yet that's what I learned. When I was finding out, like, why couldn't I just prosper more? Why couldn't I make more money? Why did I have like a ceiling around me? I realized that it was because I had created a story that everything I had was meant to give away. And if I didn't, guess what? I would feel guilty. Totally. So anytime I saw money things pass by, like I felt like I had to get rid of them because otherwise I would feel guilty. And you know, there's a principle here. Your mind is not designed to make you happy. It is designed to keep you safe. And also, the greatest need that you have as a human being is to be congruent with your identity. And you're going to go to greater extents to defend that at a subconscious level. You don't even realize it. What happened was I wanted great things, except that I was being congruent. I was in integrity with the story that I had told myself that I could not hold into good things because they were meant to be given. I had to get them and pass them on, get them and pass them on, get them and give them away. Because what I wrote was a story that I wasn't worth to keep it. Somebody else was, not me. Somebody else needed it, but not me. And that's how I rolled with life. So I felt a lot of guilt around keeping things, having money, having more money, having this, having that. And you know what? We carry so much unnecessary guilt. And that's why I want to show you the 3 things what to do with guilt that you don't need. And you know, one thing is to feel the guilt when you actually have committed something that your unconscious is driving you to do the right thing, to make amends, to pay. Absolutely. Guilt is necessary in that regard. When you go into blow up with your relationships and you act up, you overact, you do different things that actually are hurtful to other people, that are detrimental, that are damaging. Absolutely. You should feel guilty because that guilt is what's going to move you to go do the right thing. Okay. But there is so much guilt that we carry around that is unnecessary. And the first thing that I'm going to tell you to do with guilt is to identify whose voice is that. Is that really your voice? Is that voice of God saying, hey, you need to go and do this thing right and make amends? Or is it the voice of somebody that planted there that it doesn't belong there? Is it the voice of somebody else's limiting belief and you feel guilty about it? Is it somebody that abused you and you feel guilty for that? See, there's so much unnecessary guilt. And what I want to invite you to do first is identify. The first thing is identify whose voice really is that. Is that a belief that you want to hold on to? Where is that coming from? Because you don't need to carry that. If it's not serving you, something might have happened to you. You might have an experience of life like me. I have carried on a belief that was not even necessarily mine. It was in my mom because it was not in her heart to tell me that good things were not meant for me. She lived a principle that she lives until this day, and she gives and gives and gives. She is a giver. But I didn't get that message. I get the message that I wasn't worthy. So I had to identify that and be able to change it when I got the light coming through and allowing me to see that. So that's what I'm inviting you to do. Number two is, if there's indeed something that you have, that you want to change, that you've done, and that you want to get rid of that guilt, I'm going to invite you to forgive. Forgiveness releases so many unwanted things. Let it go. Come to terms that it happened, it did, you did, whatever. But that the past and whatever happened does not define where you're going and who you're going to be. It only does it if you allow it. So let go. Forgive others. Forgive you for doing, for committing, for avoiding, for what happened, what didn't happen. Forgive yourself. Because if you don't, then you are going to be carrying that guilt around. You know, I realized how much of the guilt I carry with me, that I saw so much money pass me by. You know, between the money that I was earning or money that I actually held in my possession and let it go, or things that were on the table, deals that I could have closed and things that I could have done and that I saw him pass by, I stopped counting after $1-2 million. Physically, that I could count and say, I lost this much money here, I lost this much money there, I lost money here, I lost it here, I lost it, because I was carrying the guilt with me. And it wasn't until I was with my cousin, and she gave me a book. She put a book on my hands that started allowing me to change that. And she put this book, actually, I'm going to share with you. It's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And this is a book that started helping me do the third point that I want to talk to you, which is change your mind around that. Create a new belief that actually supports where you want to go in life, that actually supports your God-given right to be happy, to be prosperous, to live in abundance. Because the more you can have, the more you can give. And sometimes I ask people when I'm coaching and when I'm talking to them, if you could have more money, would you take it? If you could have more love, would you take it? If you could have more happiness, would you take it? And of course you would say, of course, Soraya, everybody would say yes. But the reality is that as I say these things, to many people, there's an inner conflict that says no to this, no to that, no to that, because of beliefs that we have, and we feel guilty, definitely. So I want to invite you to identify what's going on for you. And once you do, then be able to let go, because that is key. Forgiving yourself for for what happened, for what didn't, forgiving others for what happened, and deciding that today is the first day of the rest of your life. You cannot go to the past. You are not going to change the past. You can only change it when you work through it and you make new definitions, as if you went back and said, wow, if I went back and I could do that differently, what would I do? And then you create that. There is a possibility that you can change the past in your mind so that you can make better decisions. But you're not going to be able to go back. You know, the best thing about the past is that it's gone. It's gone. And whatever happened to you, you do not need to carry any more guilt. So what are the steps? Number one is identify what's going on. Whose voice is it that? Number two is forgive. Number three is create a new story. And create a compelling, empowering story that takes you to where you really want to go, to live a life not by default, but by design. And that is my invitation for you to do that today. There are resources, there's books, there is seminaries, there is retreats, there's conferences. I definitely am here to help you. That's a route that you like to go. Nonetheless, I want to invite you to live a life of freedom, because it is possible, and I am here as a life designer, mindset and relationship coach to say there is more for you. Receive the abundance that this world has for you, that has already been provided, and it's accessible. It's within reach as you just reaching out. It is possible. I've seen it happen. I see it in my own life, and now I want to invite you to enjoy even more so that you can give even more to those around you, to those you love, and you can make a difference in the world. So, Ayatana, and I look forward to seeing you on our next time together. Thank you.